another situation where it seems like every single show, every single week, we're talking about it. We're getting questions about it. Fighters are talking about it, just like they did on Monday's show. It's the Michael Chandler, Conor McGregor situation, a saga that dates back to February when they first announced, the UFC did, that they would be coaches on The Ultimate Fighter. And here we are in October, still wondering how this whole story will play out. I've been asking Michael to come on the show for quite some time, since February, and I promised him I wouldn't ask the same old. So let's see if I'm able to stay true to that. He is kind enough to finally join us again on the program. Is it true? Is he there? There he is. My guy, Michael.
What's up?
No one makes me work harder than
dude?
Michael Chandler. It's amazing. How are you, my friend?
I'm great, man. No, I appreciate the opportunity. You know, I love you. Just been keeping my head down, nose to the grindstone over the last couple months. And, you know, not a ton to report, but for sure Conor will get knocked out sometime next year.
Okay, so is this what semi-retirement life is like? Just golfing on a Wednesday? Is that what you're doing?
This is it, man.
This is bad.
It. I actually, I'm getting a practice round, and I actually have a 3-day tournament coming up this weekend at Troubadour. So it's gonna be a lot of fun. So it's gonna be, I'm probably gonna buy a lot down there and live the golf life. But we'll see. Right now, we're just dialing in the game, trying to take a couple strokes off.
Oh, you know what this is? There was a video that went viral yesterday that at 2:20 p.m. Eastern, everyone's phone in America is gonna go off. Because this is them testing.
I was gonna say, dude.
This is it.
I was gonna say, did you know what just happened? I was like right in the middle of the interview.
No.
Yeah, so I just got a notification and in my phone. Okay.
This is a test of the National Wireless Emergency Alert System. The purpose is to maintain and improve alert and warning capabilities at the federal, state, local, tribal, and territorial levels, and to evaluate the nation's public alert and warning capabilities. No action is required by the public. A guy posted a video yesterday that went viral and let everyone know that this was going to happen. And then I was talking with the crew here. I was like, this is literally right at the beginning of the Michael Chandler interview. Great timing. Thank you.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate you trusting me enough to interview me during the national.
That's how big of a deal you are to me, Michael. I would bypass the national alert.
I appreciate that, man. Thank you. You know, I'm just I mean, it's I haven't done a ton of interviews these days. Just really been focusing on me and the family, and I am happy, healthy, wealthy, and wise, man. Life is good.
Okay, so I'm going to stay true to that promise to a degree here. Let me ask you this. Bellator 300 this weekend. We just revealed a poster. I don't know if you saw this. Bellator is coming out with a limited edition poster. I don't know if we could show this poster to Michael because I think he would appreciate it. If we can put it up for him, I think that would be very cool. Where they're making a Bellator 300 poster, and on the poster are the biggest names in the history of the promotion, and you are included there. How could you not be? We're showing it on the screen here. I don't know if you can see it as well. Let me know when you can. But you're on the left side of the screen. And so
oh, yeah.
Do you see it?
Yeah, that's cool, man.
Yeah, I like that they're doing that, honoring the history. I would have placed things a little bit differently if I'm nitpicking. I think you would have been more front and center. You were the face of the promotion for a long time. I'm just wondering, it seems like, you know, Bellator is coming to an end here. And I was wondering if you could share with me your feelings as you're hearing these stories. Is there any sort of emotional attachment, or are you so far past that?
No, there definitely is. You know, obviously, I'm a very much forward-thinking, don't really care about yesterday. I'm ready to trot forward and create a life for me and my family in the future. But, yeah, I wouldn't be where I am if it was not for me having all those fights in Bellator, you know. And I have to say, Scott Coker personally invited me this weekend to be at UFC 300. Unfortunately, like I said,
Bellator 300.
Sorry, did I say? Yeah, I said UFC 300. Maybe that's some foreshadowing. Right. We don't know. But Bellator 300 this weekend, and you know, Scott and Mike Kogan, Rich Chu when he was a part of it. I mean, moving back to the Bjorn Rebney days. I mean, it was a part of my life for a very long time. There was definitely some ups and some downs. It taught me a lot about myself. Taught me a lot about the industry. You know, myself and my management, Dave Martin and Randall Alleman, kind of navigating all of those waters all the way into, you know, coming into the UFC now the last couple of years. But it's, you know, if it does come to an end, which you probably obviously know a lot more than I do. Like I said, I've had my head somewhat in the sand and out on the golf course. But, you know, I think it's definitely would be bittersweet to see them go, because I definitely was a In large part, I was a big reason why Bellator became Bellator. And also, like I said, I give them their props that I wouldn't be here today if it wasn't for my time in Bellator.
I saw that you did some cool stuff with the Tennessee Titans. You and your family were there. When you see those guys, do they all come up to you and start asking you a million questions as well? And does it get annoying ever? People like myself, but even like now you have athletes, or do they come to you from a different perspective? Like, are they asking you business questions? Like, what is the relationship there like? What are the conversations there like?
Yeah, a little bit of both. It is very cool, man. I love Nashville and I love the Titans. Friends with a lot of the guys, some of the coaching staff on the team, train with a lot of the guys here. A lot of guys who aren't on the Titans team, who are in the NFL, train here and live here in the off season. So there's a very great group of dudes that I can train with, hang out with, outside of just your normal, I guess, fight crew, if you will. So yeah, I mean, I'm definitely a little bit long in the tooth when it comes to being an athlete. Navigating the waters of contracts and what do you do with your money? How do you set yourself and your family up? And that's what I've really been focused on a lot these days, realizing that what is out of my control is when Conor decides to figure out what he needs to figure out when he's coming back. But what isn't in my control is I have 24 hours every single day to create a life for me and my family. And we're doing some very big things, some things that we could talk about, some things that have not yet been announced. But it's been a lot of fun. Like you said, you mentioned, I got the call from Hunter Campbell back in February of this year.
Yeah.
It's now been however many months. And, the fight could have been as early as September right after the show. And then we were talking about December, and now it looks like December's not going to happen. So all I can do is focus on me and my two boys and my wife, Bree, and enjoy my life.
What are the big things that you can talk about that you just referenced?
Well, so for me, I've invested in a couple different companies and come on board a couple different companies. Obviously, Cram Nutrition, which the PB&Js. I need to send you more. I will share a secret code with you and only you. I can't say it live on air because I don't want millions of orders coming in. But yeah, I mean, Cram. We're building Cram. We're nationwide in Sprouts. We're now in Myers. It is the PB&J reinvented, and it is like we talked about, sprouted, fermented, organic bread, no sugar added to the jelly. We're doing very, very well with some big talks. I have a company right now that I just invested in that we are holding tight to our chest, that I'm very excited about, that I will be one of the people on the board and pushing it and building it. And then other than that, Speed Fitness. So I'm kind of on the board there as well as an investor there. So just trying to do things outside of just fighting. Problem fighters have is just rely on that paycheck, and they don't have multiple sources of income. I've been a guy who's tried to build a life outside of just that. I'd like for that to be a small percentage of my income, and we're doing a pretty good job of it.
How would you characterize the last 10 months in your life? MSG fight, big time fight, perhaps didn't go your way, but everyone loved it. And then all of a sudden you go from that to, the fight that everyone wants, Ultimate Fighter, ESPN, you're all over the place. But now it kind of is in a spot of this uncertainty. So that like roller coaster, has this been a frustrating 10 months? Has it been how would you put it into words? How would you describe it?
It's a good question because, it's not just another fight. This is the biggest fight that we have seen in a very long time, right? The comeback of Conor, the biggest comeback in combat sports history, he calls it. Obviously it's going to be targeted for a large card with large names at a large venue. And then obviously the 12 weeks on ESPN with all the viewership every single week, the people following the storyline. It's been a lot of ups, and I did a lot of stuff. I was working my tail off for about 14 weeks straight, every single week, doing my own show live on YouTube and talking about the fighting and every week and talking about each of my guys. So I threw myself into a deep frenzy of hard work and immersing myself in it. And then now over the last couple of months, I've kind of pulled myself away from it and kind of just buried my head in the sand a little bit because I wanted to make hay while the sun was shining, but it definitely needed to focus on me. So focusing on me and enjoying it. But every single day I have an opportunity to worry about the things that are not in my control. Worry about the things that are in my control. And by and large, if you do the right thing and focus on the good in my life, because I have a lot of really, really, really good things in my life, a lot of blessings. If I focus on those, good things are going to happen. And this fight will get booked. It'll get set up. More and more information will continue to come out. I know some information that other people don't have that may or may not be shared. Like, just like, this industry, there's a lot of stuff going on outside of just what the people know. So we enjoy the process, and it's going to be a big fight, and it's going to be a big opportunity for me, and it's going to happen. It just is a matter of time.
Any information that we don't know that you want to share with us today, just to enlighten us, inform us, educate us? No? Okay.
No. But ultimately, things are moving in the right direction. And of course, I get it. The guy on Monday, Hanato Moicano, I get it. People call me delusional. Why are you waiting? Why are you wasting all this time? You're wasting these years and blah, blah, blah. Listen, man, I don't believe we get old. I believe we get lazy and we get busy. And at 37 years old, I feel better than a lot of 27-year-olds, and would venture to say that I probably feel better than a lot of 22-year-olds. Why? Because I've taken a good care of my body. I've taken good care of my mind, even with the wear and tear that I put on my body. Good sleep, supplementation, treating your body right. Man, I feel phenomenal. So I'm not really worried about the getting old thing. I feel phenomenal. And like I said, I got a lot of tread left on these tires. So I'm going to, if anything, I needed a little bit of rest. All right. Not to go on to another tangent, but I knocked out Benson Henderson in August of 2020, signed with the UFC in September of 2020, immediately went into a training camp, was the backup in October of 2020, then fought January of 2021, then fought May, then fought November of 2021. I've been nonstop and said yes to every single opportunity since I signed with the organization. Been in a couple of wars, fight of the years, fight of the nights. So a little bit of time off isn't a bad thing. I'm building things outside of fighting, and the people will be able to see it, and then we'll be able to see the fruits of our labor when the time comes.
Okay, so I've tried my best to beat around the bush for the last 15 or so minutes. Could you tell us, as we speak here today on October 4th at around 2:28 Eastern time, where does the fight stand? What is the status of the fight, you versus Conor McGregor?
The status is unequivocally the fight is still happening. The fight is not booked for a date. The fight is not booked for a venue. The fight is booked between Chandler and Conor. There's no way that Conor comes back and doesn't fight me. If Conor doesn't fight me, he's probably just not coming back, and that's out of my control. So he's coming back. He's fighting me. At this point, obviously by deductive reasoning, by process of elimination, there's now a main event in December. There's a main event in November. We're not going to not be a main event. So that pushes us into 2024. I'm ready to fight in January, February, March, April, May, whenever. So we'll see. Obviously, it makes a lot of sense that there's a very historic card coming up with the UFC. I haven't been told that's when it's going to be, but I wouldn't be surprised if that is when it is. And if it is, I got more and more time to prepare. I've never had this much time to prepare for one certain guy, one certain opponent. So me and my team training here in Nashville, and also when I go down to Florida, we're going to put together a game plan, knock this dude out in the first round or two.
When you signed up for the Ultimate Fighter, were you told this fight is happening on X date or X month?
No, I was told, hey, the plan would be do this, and then the fight would be around, right after the show. Because It made a lot of sense, right?
Yeah.
We do the show till August. Maybe we fight right after the show. It would make a ton of sense from a TV perspective, from a building of the hype, building of a fight perspective, to fight right in, what was it, August, September, or maybe right now in October, right after the show ends. But ultimately, that's not happening. But no, that's one thing I will say. Listen, myself and the UFC have a very good relationship. It's a very honest relationship, whether they tell me what I don't want to hear or I tell them what they don't want to hear, or at least telling each other the truth or any information that we have. So we got a good relationship, and I know they're trying their best, and we knew this was going to be an interesting road no matter what. That was one thing that they said, hey, you're about to sign up for the Ultimate Fighter against Conor, and you're going to be booked to fight Conor. This is not going to be a traditional way that a fight gets booked. There will be some roadblocks, some ups, some downs, some uncertainty. And that's what a lot of people, in your shoes or the other fighters or whoever might say, what's going on here? You're wasting a bunch of time. Just because it's not a conventional way to get a fight booked or a conventional timeline doesn't mean the fight's not happening. So as we sit here today, it's Chandler versus McGregor at a date to be determined.
Are you able to tell us, based on what you know or have been told, why hasn't the fight been booked yet or even happened yet?
I have not been told. obviously there's a lot of speculation. You know, the guy's coming off of a crazy injury. Is he not ready to fight yet? I also completely understand if Conor isn't in any hurry to come back. He's got more money than you, more money than me. He's got more money than he can probably spend. So that urgency for him to fight may not be there necessarily. So it's probably got to be right when it's right. He needs to feel 100% right. Obviously, people are posting stuff, tagging us in different things. He's training, looking like he's training. You know, he's looking like he's doing what everybody accuses him of, is partying too much, but he's also out there training as well. So he's training. I don't have it would all be speculation at this point. But yeah, I mean, the guy's coming off of a gruesome injury. This is not an easy injury, and shame on anybody who says, hey, he should be back by now. The dude snapped his leg in half. So, you know, we'll see. Either way, I'm looking forward to that fight, and I believe the fight is happening. I might be absolutely crushed if it doesn't, but I have no indication whatsoever that I'm not waiting in vain.
Have you set a personal deadline? Hey, if this doesn't come to fruition by X month, I'm moving on?
That's a good question because I've definitely thought about that a lot, and people have asked me that. You know, obviously, with the 6-month USADA deadline, you know, you start looking at different dates, you start looking at different events. You can do the math at what point in time he would need to be entered the USADA testing pool, which will be, you'll know, I'll know, everybody will know, because that's a public, basically a public announcement. It will be put out there right when he does enter the USADA pool. You know, best I can say, UFC 300 could possibly be what everyone is probably looking at. So between, you know, right around that 6-month mark from there would make a lot of sense. But I haven't set a date. But like I said, I'm just a foot soldier ready for that phone call. And when that phone call comes in, I go to work. Until then, I'm training every day, staying in shape. Like I said, you don't get old, you get lazy and busy. I'm not lazy, and I'm not too busy to get my workouts in. So I just focus on that.
To that point, just curious, I mean, you're a proud guy, right? You've accomplished a lot. I'm wondering if at any point your ego pops through a little bit and you ever say to yourself, just for a moment, because you clearly don't believe that now or feel that way now, but like, you know what? F this guy. I'm Michael freaking Chandler. I'm not going to wait anymore. Do you ever have moments like that and then you come back down to this position that you're in here? Does that ever pop up?
You know, I'd be lying if I didn't say that there was a little bit of ego here and there that pops in. But honestly, ego is the enemy of us all, man. Ego will absolutely ruin your career, ruin relationships, ruin what could have been. Right now, I've been focused on me realizing that, hey, I also, like I said, I'm a man of my word. I've signed on the contract and said me and him are going to fight after the Ultimate Fighter. Just like I stepped up, put my work boots on, and showed up as a backup, knowing there was a 99% chance that I wasn't going to fight against Khabib or Justin Gaethje in Abu Dhabi. Okay, I'm kind of a man of principle where I say if I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it. So yeah, there's definitely moments where I say, yeah, am I doing something here that might be a bad idea? And to the public, to the general people, to maybe even yourself or other people who have said things, made videos, made comments. They've said he's an idiot for waiting around, but I don't see myself as anything other than a guy who's letting the process take care of itself. But I definitely had my moments. Let's be honest. I'm a competitor. I love to fight. I don't get paid unless I do fight, obviously. That's why my paycheck doesn't just come from the UFC. My paycheck comes from a lot of outside sources, and I'm working on those things as we speak.
And by the way, for the record, what I've always said is I feel for you because it is the biggest fight by far. So anyone saying you should just move on doesn't recognize that. And as of last week, the last time I was asked about this, because it feels like every show we talk about it, I said, you know, I think a personal deadline would be good just for you to say, hey, if it doesn't happen by, or, you know, if there's no contract by May or something, I'm just picking a random time, but I said around 300, 301, then maybe you explore. But that's still 6 or so months away. So there's no rush. And as you just said, you've been busy, nice to heal up. It's the biggest fight times 5. Why would you go back and fight someone else when that's looming? And to Conor's credit, whatever people want to say, as recently as this Friday, I saw an interview with him and a young man named Donna Corby in Ireland where he said, Chandler's next. Now, when he says that, he also says like he'll do as I tell him to do and stuff like that. So, so I'm wondering, when you see those videos, what do you think?
Typical Conor, right? Hey, listen, I'm fighting Chandler, but even if I want to make him wait 6 months, he'll do as he's told, and he'll wait around. And it's what we're dealing with, and he's earned the spot. Listen, I don't have, once again, going back to the ego, I fight with some ego. I do business with some ego every now and then. I operate with some ego, of course. We all have it, right? But when it comes to this kind of stuff, man, the dude's earned the place. You're a hater and a naysayer if you don't believe that he has. He and I now have some history. He put his hands on me. He and I have a ton of respect for each other, even after that. Ton of respect for each other. He's got a ton of respect for me. That's why you didn't see a lot of that stuff back and forth on The Ultimate Fighter. I have a ton of respect for him and what he's built. And he and I are excited to compete against each other. I'm the next fight. He has said it. Obviously, I have said it. The UFC has said it. We have no reason. And even like Dana said, it actually was funny. He called out Gaethje. He called out Volkanovski. He called out Adesanya. He called out everybody, right? He would beat everybody. He does that to get everybody going. And but this is the fight that's going to happen, and I'm really excited about it. And it's obviously, like you said, the biggest fight of my life times 5, the biggest fight of anybody out there who wants to talk, just like the guy did on Monday. This is the biggest fight times a million that he'll ever have. So, we're gonna keep on focusing on the task at hand, and we'll knock him out in the first round.
I'll ask you just a couple more, and then I'll let you get back to the golfing. I appreciate this very much, so won't keep you much longer. Just curious, do you regret doing The Ultimate Fighter?
Oh gosh, no, man. And it wasn't even the opening of the door to be able to have people see more of me as a human being and not just the pugilist. It wasn't even just the stock and the platform and everything growing. It was the relationships I made with those guys, man. The relationships I made knowing that I was just a little piece of Kurt Holloway winning The Ultimate Fighter. Austin Hubbard making the finals, Cody Gibson making the finals, these other guys getting opportunities to be on ESPN for me to put them in the best situation possible. And I told ESPN, Glenn Jacobs, I told the UFC, hey, not only will I do it again, but I'll do it multiple times. I'll build a whole show around me bringing in 30 or so fighters, teaching them not just about punches, kicks, knees, and elbows. How do you make it in this sport? How do you go from nobody to somebody in this sport and create not just wins and losses, not just world titles, but something that lasts longer than that? And I think that's what we created during that 5 or so weeks that we were in Vegas. And I loved the opportunity. There's some other stuff going on outside, Hollywood stuff that we're now retained a theatrical agent. So, there'd be stuff going on TV, and
wow,
some big stuff that we can create, and it'd be good.
Movie stuff coming up for you?
Yeah. We will see. I got a big hitter. We got a real big hitter.
Wow.
But we'll announce that later on.
Okay.
I'm more of a you find out from someone else than
I like that.
Find out from me kind of guy.
I like the tease. Though. To the best of your knowledge, is he in the pool right now?
I think we would all know if he was.
Okay.
I don't think he is. Like I said, I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure it's all public knowledge. When I get tested, when my results come out, right, you can check the list. So I would say 99.99% sure that he is not. And if there is a deadline up until the date, 6 months up until the date that he wants to fight, rest assured he will wait until 1 hour before that deadline goes away, right, to keep you and me and everybody else on their toes. So when you realize what you're dealing with, you just let it fly, baby.
And if he says 85 or even 70, you're still in, right?
Absolutely. No, 170 will be phenomenal. I've been cutting weight since I was 14 years old. And I cut a lot of weight to make 155. When I have said I'll fight at 185, it's not because I want to balloon up to 200 and look all slow and muscle bound or fat and sluggish. I weigh 190, 185 pounds right now. So I'm basically just going to go in and not cut any weight. So the weight doesn't matter. It's 2 opponents. I've always wondered why we have to be so strict about the weight when it comes to 2 guys not fighting for a title. If you're fighting a 155 pounder at 170, you're basically just not cutting those last 15 pounds of water. But I'm not here to make the rules, but I am here to enjoy fighting at 170 or 185, whatever he wants.
We are focusing on Conor, and I understand why, but I didn't see in your replies on Twitter at one point, someone said, if it's not Conor, who is it? And you wrote Diaz. I saw that recently a couple of days ago, right?
Yeah.
Deep in the replies,
Diaz, yeah.
yes. I'm assuming you're talking about Nathan Diaz. He's not in the UFC right now. Why was he the choice? Why was he the guy that you wrote?
I think it just, it was a name that would get people talking. And I do think, there are definitely some moments where I'm like, hey man, Conor coming back. Is he just trolling us all? Is he a real fighter anymore? Is he a real fighter? Right. And you think, who is a real fighter? Nate Diaz is a real fighter. I'm a real fighter. Now, obviously, the people are going to come out, throw shade at me for saying, hey, why would you even talk about him? You obviously don't care about the title anymore, blah, blah, blah. But Diaz has always been the guy that I've wanted to fight, not because I just like him. I just respect the hell out of him, and I think it will be a lot of fun. And I'd love to get smacked by him and flipped off by him in a cage, and I think it'd be fun.
Not going to hold you to it, but in your heart of hearts, when do you think you fight Conor McGregor? When do you think this happens? What's your gut saying?
My heart of hearts says the biggest fight we've seen in a very long time has to go down on the biggest card that the UFC is going to put together, and it's since UFC 200, since UFC 100. So if my heart of hearts, my gut says we might be waiting out till UFC 300. Good thing is I got a lot of things to keep me busy, and I get an opportunity to train for Conor for a very long time.
Oliveira or Makhachev?
My heart says Oliveira, but my mind says Makhachev. I think Makhachev is better than him. I have picked against Islam way too many times. I would love to compete against Islam. I got some work to do to make that happen. Obviously, I do think Islam is the best guy in the world at 155 pounds, hands down. But we'll see if Oliveira can do it. But I think Makhachev wins that fight.
And last one, he loves the show. He watches all the time. He's probably watching right now. Any message to Conor McGregor?
Man, get it figured out. Make sure you come back the happiest and healthiest you have ever been, man, because this is going to be a huge fight. I do wish him well. He was moving around really well on the Ultimate Fighter. Hope he's healed up. Hope he's ready. Hope he's focused because, like I said in that post-fight interview with Joe Rogan, I want the biggest, baddest Conor McGregor, most dangerous Conor we've ever seen. So I'm excited to compete. And like I said, I separated from consciousness within the first 2 rounds.
You're the man, Mike. Really appreciate it. Thank you so much. By the way, what's the handicap? What are we working with?
We're sitting at a 17. We got a lot of work to do. Okay.
All right. Good luck.
But that's why you just got to have more fun.
Okay?
Oh, I like
that.
You just got to have more fun.
I like it. I like it. Good luck to you this weekend. Thank you for doing this. Really, really appreciate it. Good luck with everything, and props on how you're handling it all.
Yes, sir. Thanks, Errol. Appreciate it, man.
All right. There he is, Michael Chandler. Insightful stuff. I thought we learned a lot there. And I do give him a lot of props for how he's handling all of this because it's not an easy position. Everyone has an opinion on how he should handle all of this. Everyone is saying, hey, like I said, shit or get off the pot, move on. What are you doing? A lot of people share the opinion of one Renato Moicano. I get where Moicano is coming from, but man, if you were sitting on a lottery ticket like that, you would probably wait. 300 is the perfect place for a fight like this. There's a case to be made that you do it on a 299 or a 301 because then you get 2 bites at the million by apple, so to speak. But I don't know if there is a better option for 300 at this juncture, right? With Izzy no longer being champion, who knows who's going to be the star and who knows how the schedule pans out, right? It ended up at 200 being perfect. Jones, DC, massive fight, didn't come to fruition, but that was the plan. You get Brock Lesnar. It ended up being Amanda Nunes versus Miesha Tate. And that was a tremendous card from top to bottom. Sometimes the stars just have to align. And I would be shocked. I saw someone recently ask Dana White about UFC 300. I would be shocked if they don't have like a preliminary idea or wish list. Injuries, results could all play a factor. But we're approaching the point now with 294 coming up, 295, 296, December 16th. We're approaching that period where this is the time where you can actually start putting the pieces in place. When people were asking me about UFC 300 back in like March or February, we've been talking about UFC 300. I bet there's a UFC 300 question on the nose. I don't remember if there was, but there might be. Is there a 300 question this week? I bet there was one in the mix, Frank, right? There's always one.
Yeah, there's always one.
Yeah. So it's impossible to predict you could say, like, what's the wish list or who'd be the guy in February. But now is the time where you can actually say in April, this is what we're targeting. We know what's going down in October, rapidly approaching, 17 days away. We know what's going down in New York here in November, a little over a month away. We know what's going down in December. We're starting to hear more about January. All signs are pointing towards Toronto, Ontario, Canada, which would be tremendous. They've been to Toronto in December. It's cold in January, so I hope that everyone bundles up. Is it going to be Alex Volkanovski? I know there's been preliminary talks, but last I checked on Topuria, they haven't reached out to him. I would suspect that he would be the guy. There really isn't anyone else at 145 for Volkanovski. And then the rest of the 2024 calendars is very much up in the air. And so if everything works out, 297 would be January, 298 would be February, and now we're talking about 299 being March. Like I said last week, sometimes there's 2 pay-per-views in March, maybe 300 is in April. Would have been better if it would have worked out for International Fight Week again. Is it possible that they do like 299, 2.5, and then 0.5, and then 0.75, and then 300?
I like that idea. I think that's good.
Thanks for jumping in there. I appreciate that.
Yeah, of course, man. I just wanted to back you up.
Yeah. What do you think? What do you think about this whole thing? What do you think about what Chandler said, how he's handling this? Finally, great to finally... I joke about this a lot, but my text is like blue, 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 blue. And then out of nowhere, I shot my shot on Monday, and he responded. And I was like, holy shit. And so here he is. I was happy to get some answers. How do you feel about his stance and what he's saying? That's my voice.
I mean, it was good to hear from him. It feels like he's handling this well, like you said. The more I think about it, after he just talked, like, it feels like UFC 300 would be perfect for it. Like, it's the biggest fight that you can make right now, obviously bringing McGregor back. And now we're within shouting distance of UFC 300. Like, we got 94 in just 2 weeks, 6 months. Obviously, the whole USADA thing, whatever goes on there. It feels like that would be the perfect fight to headline that card. Because I'm with you. You can't give up on the dream just yet.
No.
Like, it's only been 8 months since they had the initial talks. McGregor is saying when he does come back, it will be against Michael Chandler. You can't get... Like, what would be the other fight? Like, say it's not Diaz either. Like, it would feel like anything that isn't McGregor at this point is just a massive letdown for him.
Yeah, and plus he's fought all the top guys, right?
Right, and he's probably not going to get a title shot right now. Like,
he fought Poirier, he fought Gaethje, he fought these dudes, he fought Oliveira, right? So it's like, who's that other guy that you're saying, hey, you have to fight this guy? You're ducking this guy. If you look at the champions right now, we'll start at heavyweight, right? John Jones could be a 300 potential. The timing is perfect, November to April. Is there that other guy? I love Aspinall, I love Pavlovich. Does that get Jones excited, or do they need to figure something out before they fight? Yeah, there it is. Okay. And by the way, that's if John Jones wins on November the 12th. Or is it the 11th? The 11th. Light heavyweight belt, Yuri, Alex. Okay, there's going to be a winner, we suspect, on November 11th, although in the light heavyweight division, it is crazy. Is the next fight for that guy 300 worthy? Maybe as a co-main or a third title fight on the card, but certainly not as a main event. Sean Strickland, that's an interesting one. He's become supremely popular. Is the rematch or a Khamzat fight or a Costa fight? Yeah, potentially. We'll put that one on the side. Leon Colby winner, that timeline would work out, December to April. Is there a big fight for the winner there? Not quite sure. It's 300 level. Makhachev, the timeline would work out. He's defending. Winner of that fight? Potentially, but again, is it 300 level? I don't know. Volk in January, now we're getting a little bit close. O'Malley could be the guy, but that means he's on the sidelines for quite some time as well. Flyweight, no. Something in my throat, golly.
You're really struggling here, man.
Flyweight, something, no, nothing much. I mean, the timeline will work out, but there's nothing of note. And then you get to the women's divisions. Grasso might work out. But again, is that main event?
But is Alexa Grasso main event UFC 300 worthy?
Again, I think 300 sells itself.
Right. Right, but like you need
that big dog. Yeah, I mean, look,
like,
they got Brock Lesnar last time. They got John Jones.
It just sounds just like, yep, UFC 300. Conor McGregor is headlining.
Chandler.
He's making his return after almost 3 years away from the octagon.
Crazy.
Michael Chandler.
Any chance they do it at the Sphere?
I don't know, but I mean, we're talking UFC Noche at the Sphere. You saw that?
Yeah. I wonder why. Why did they say the Sphere for that one? Like, why not just like any? Why does it have to be Noche? Because that's like a branded card.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess.
I wonder
what the Mexican flag on the Sphere outside.
What is the capacity of the Sphere? I know it's like sort of.
I don't know, but those concerts look trippy, man. Those look.
Oh, the
insane.
U2 thing.
Yeah.
Yo, the capacity of the Sphere is 18,600. That's because it's like cut off. It's like a theater. I didn't realize it was that big. 18,000. That's every arena in America. Pretty much 18 to 20,000.
Yeah.
Oh my God, could you imagine a fight? Did you see that video of Ngannou and Tyson? They had like the face off. I posted that on Monday. Did you see that?
On the outside of it.
Yeah, like the video on the ball.
Yeah.
That was sick. And then
the inside of it looks even crazy.
Oh yeah, the U2 stuff.
The inside looks insane.
Did you see the pumpkin?
Yeah. The
amazing.
Great. I mean, the Sphere is unbelievable. Owned by MSG.
I know. It's like the best thing James Dolan has ever done.
Dude, they could even, like, say they didn't have anything going on at the Sphere on a random Saturday night. They could just put the fights on inside, like on the screens inside. And I bet it would sell thousands of tickets.
What do you think is better, the Sphere or the Apex?
Oh, man. Can we move the Apex into the Sphere?
Oh, that'd be sick.
No fans, though. Still no fans.
What do you do, though, about the screen in back of the cage?
I don't know.
Like, what do you put on there?
I don't know.
I was listening to the Cheap Heat podcast. Shout out to Stat Guy Greg and Peter Rosenberg and Dip. And they were talking about pro wrestling at the Sphere. And Stat Guy Greg said that you have the ring, you have the fans, and then in the back where the screen is, you go like old school pandemic style with the faces on the screen. Like you blend the two. Because they used to have something in WWE called the Thunderdome, when fans weren't allowed in the arena, and they had. Do you like that? Like, would you like to have fans? No, you don't like that.
No,
okay.
No. Because like if you think about it, like I'm looking at pictures of the U2 concert right now, and it's like obviously like insane video effects.
Yes.
Behind them, like I feel like it really bolsters up a concert. Like, what would you put? Because you'd have to think it'd be distracting for the fighters if the entire arena is just illuminated with something. Like, well, what would you put up? That's actually a good question.
It'd be cool if it was like Coliseum. Like every fight had a different venue or a different setting. Coliseum.
Like a different theme.
You're in the freaking fields in Scotland for one fight. A different theme based off of the fight. So let's say it's Izzy versus Strickland. So like it happens in a trailer park, like in a trailer. That would be good, right?
See, yeah. That's what Strickland wanted. He is the champion. You can name,
or he gets to pick.
Background.
Or if let's see, Volk versus let's say it's Taporia. It happens like on the Sydney Harbor.
Sydney Harbor, yeah.
In the background. Could you imagine that? Conor versus Chandler. Background is the Black Forge Inn.
Yeah. Right.
You have the stake on the stone right over there. Come on, that would be incredible.
That's what sells it.
Yeah, that would be.
Yeah, McGregor's fighting here. We got the stake on the stone in the corner on the video board. I don't know. I actually didn't think about what would go up on the video board if you did fights in the Sphere.
Yes.
I don't know if there's anything you could put, right?
No, I think you can put. Why? Because you think it would be distracting?
I mean, it feels like I'm looking at these pictures. Like it just looks.
I want to know how big the floor is. Like, could you have basketball there? Could you have like, or is it because it's so high up?
Right, and it's not wraparound seating.
Exactly, that's the point. It's like theater style, so you have to have something on the other side, unless they can reconfigure it. Would you go to a U2 concert?
Yeah.
At the fair, are you a big U2 guy?
No, I'm not a big U2 guy, but they're a pretty legendary band. I would go to a concert.
What's Joshua Tree?
One of their albums.
Oh, yeah, cool. No, I love U2. I just didn't know you were. I thought you were talking about the place, Joshua Tree, right? Isn't that a place?
That's a cool place too.
Wouldn't go to a U2 concert at the Sphere?
No, I would. It looked fantastic.
Yeah, I'd go.
all my years of going to Las Vegas, I've never done like the Beatles show, and like Cirque du Soleil and all that stuff. I feel like I probably should at some point, but I never go with my wife or anything like this. So like, what am I gonna do? Go by myself? Actually, when I went to see Seinfeld, when I was there for Spence Crawford, I think it was like the first time I ever did anything Vegas-y. Usually it's just like work, eat, go to bed, etc.
Well, when we go for UFC 300,
You think we should go to the Sphere? Is it just going to be
hell
you
yeah,
two
yeah.
there, or do they have like a full lineup of things?
no, I think they're gonna have a full lineup of things.
Because I know you two has a residency.
That's incredible. Wow, that is.
Frank,
Talk about making it.
Frank, would you go?
Yeah.
Are you a big U2 guy?
Now again, Joshua Tree, War. Yeah, I like those albums, but
Such a classic thing for Frank to say. Like he likes the
I'm sorry to
obscure,
answer your
like
question.
indie. Oh, we got okay. We've got a lineup of things. U2,
Yeah.
Postcard from Earth. What is that?
Sounds like a band.
U2, Postcard
like
from
an event.
Earth. Man, it's just U2 and Postcard from Earth. Is
For
that
now.
for now? Does it change? I mean, I'm now going all the way to mid-October. It's every day. Holy smoke! What the hell's? Oh, Postcard from Earth. I feel like is like a 3D experience.
Oh,
Yeah,
cool.
a postcard from Earth.
Yeah. I don't think. Yo, for now, up until mid-November, it's just Postcard from Earth and U2.
Well, we'll figure some things out. UFC Noche. Something like that. You seen Kill Bill?
Tremendous. Love it. Which one? One or two?
Well,
Two
both.
for me.
Which one's better, one or two?
I liked two a lot, but I think the original. Why?
You know what, Ariel?
Nice.
Okay. What's
Just see
It's
two.
a
Two's
big,
great.
big discussion point between me and Frank lately.
wow? That was just so random in the midst of me talking about the Sphere. I thought
Well,
you
you
were
were
going to say like,
talking
let's
about,
watch
like-
Kill Bill on the Sphere thingy.
I mean, I
That would
do
be fun, but
Yeah.
like you were talking about Frank doing obscure things. I mean, he just like
Oh, he likes number two
he's
better.
so adamant with two being better that he's offended that I think one is better.
The only sequel that is better than the original is Back to the Future 2.
Wow.
That's it.
Oh, and you like the original, Frank?
Don't give me this Home Alone 2 is better than Home Alone 1 nonsense, Godfather 2, Rocky 2. No, don't give me any of that. Hot take or not a hot take?
I think you're all right.
All right.
Divulged from McGregor Chandler headlining 300 to
Well, I mean,
Home Alone 2 versus
no, Back
Home
to the
Alone
Future
1.
2 is my strong stance.
Better than the first one, though.
By the way, the first one was fantastic. Earth Angel, Earth Angel.
And you're just willing to throw that in the trash and take
Will
the second
you-
one.
I love the second one.
You know, the more I think about it, I feel like Frank just plays the whatever's the opposite of
Yeah,
your
you would
side.
think that.
Exactly. I mean, you're just making my point over there, man.
All right, well, that's good stuff. And more of this discourse to come.